all my life, I swear to God, mentally, not physically, mentally, working as a streamer is the hardest job in the world. You can't even compete, bro.
Being a streamer is like soul sucking more than a 9 to 5. But obviously, he said it, and you see it out of context when I see the clips. But I want your take on that,
dude. Honestly, Hassan, in terms of like soul sucking, if you work a 9-hour shift and you do a 9-hour stream, you're gonna be more drained mentally from the stream because like it depends on what type of streamer you are.
Streaming has its own challenges and struggles. For example, like you get there's like swatting and stalkers and shit like that. You don't deal with that if you're working at a construction company, right? At least I would hope not.
Understand what I'm saying? Being like a streamer or any face on the internet is harder than a 9 to 5 in certain ways because it fuck you up mentally.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, guys. What is up? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the hardest workers of all time. That's right, guys. We're going to be covering streamers and content creators, classically known as the hardest workers and the hardest career you could possibly get into. So if you're looking for a job and you're looking for something to do in your free time, avoid this at all costs because you will never, ever, ever be able to live up to these guys. For as long as we have been around, many jobs have been considered to be backbreaking, hard-working careers. All right, we got electricians, got plumbers, got construction workers, you name it. We got oil rig guys, and how could I forget the deep dive welders, all right? The blue collar guys, all right? The real teeth grinding, redneck having, blue collar guys, all right? And that's all a thing of the past, man, because now, in the new day and age, we've evolved to something different, a new era of hard work, an uncomparable difficulty, unmatched labor with streaming, all right? Those blue-collar guys, redneck having blue-collar guys could never imagine how hard it is to wake up every morning and start your day sitting at your desk, writing up a script for your silly little videos, you know, sitting in your jammies, your little pajamas, your cup of tea and your cup of coffee, writing up your little script for your video, for your stream. No, they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it at all. All right. Streaming is essentially sitting in front of the camera, speaking to yourself and your audiences for long hours, long screen time, and being entertaining. All right. Like, how could anybody think that that is easy? For real. All right. And it has many forms. Comes in like news channels, cooking channels, gaming. Pretty much what it started off as was gaming and people sharing off their hobbies and stuff. But over time, it's kind of developed, and like now we see a lot of different takes on it. Like amongst the ones I've already listed, like reality TV shows and love shows, like with Could Have Been Love and everything with Drewski and all that, and Mafiathon 3 and all that stuff. And it's got a whole bunch of different genres. All right. It's also taken and seen many strategies and niches for content creators to get involved in to see channel growth, like hot tub streams, subathons, and collabs. Because nothing says hardworking like blowing up a kiddie pool, jumping in a bikini, doing you a little gaming stream for 4 or 5 hours. You know, nothing has famously ever been harder to do than blowing up a kiddie pool, filling it up with water, hopping in that bikini, and throwing on a game. All right? Famously. And the more channels grow nowadays, the more content creators must push the limits of the streaming environment, meaning supplying a constant demand for the never-ending, supplying a constant supply for the never-ending demand for entertainment with more and more outlandish things. All right, it's a constant push for creativity amongst these streamers that pushes the limits of the streaming environment, meaning supplying, with outlandish stuff to do, stuff that they've never seen before. all right? And that constantly pushes streamers into the trenches, so to speak, of course, suffering from something that's not so common in many, many jobs you see out and about that you'd go to like college for, you know what I mean? Suffering from things known as, I say things, but suffering from like exhaustion and burnout, all right? And stress, stuff like that. The most common one being burnout, of course. And if you don't know what burnout is it's described as a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion, prolonged stress, and repeated stress causes onto you. Kind of worded that a little wrong. If you don't understand that, the emotional, mental, physical exhaustion is caused by the prolonged and repeated stress. Sorry. Okay. First time reading from script. Okay, guys. I'm sorry. But contrary to what I just previously said, it is often experienced by many workers in countless careers, especially super mentally straining jobs like retail and finance. You know what I mean? Famously, the finance field has the highest rate of self-eliminations. So it's a little surprising that, though that one's not mentioned amongst one of the hardest things to do as a career. But the big thing is, and the big difference with streamers burnout is that they're locked into their careers, right? They don't have anywhere to move up. They don't have promotions. They famously have to go to work every single day, or else they fear losing their jobs for calling in sick, and they fear not being able to pay their bills because they didn't meet the hours this week, and their job won't, honor their sick time that they earned. They don't have any decency treated onto them, and normal people don't have to deal with this vicious cycle of showing up and clocking into a job that you hate, but you can't land anything else, obviously, and streamers have to do that every single day. Famously, they have to wake up and do back-breaking labor for 10 to 12 hours, and kiss the boots of the people above them, and, work in an environment that they believe is meritocracy, but 9 times out of 10, it's not. Oh, wait. That's a normal guy's fucking jobs. That's us. That's normal people. Streamers don't have to deal with that shit. At least not the successful ones, for sure. Granted, there are a lot of streamers and content creators out there that are everyday normal people that get up every day, go to work, come home, and do this shit after. I'm a prime example of that. But those aren't the kinds of streamers and content creators we're talking about today. We're talking about the ones that are profoundly successful, the ones that have kind of made it out of this cycle of having to be employed by like Walmart and a bank and, other places working at, Forever 21. We're talking about like the cutie Cinderellas and the Kai Cenats of the world, the Sneekos and the Jinxies, and we find that most of these streamers, they don't really have to deal with many of these fears. If they take a day off or even a few days, like they still have their audience to come back to, usually. If not like a vast majority of their audience, for sure. And most of these streamers' biggest issues is harassment from their audience. And albeit that is annoying and sometimes overwhelming, but simply take a note from Tyler, the Creator. Turn the fucking screen off. Go outside. Yes, being swatted, I imagine, is terrifying. Being harassed, I imagine, it's terrifying, scary. But being a retail worker, every fucking day you go in and you're afraid that you're going to get robbed, especially in today's day and age where it's extremely easy to get a weapon, and some of these people, they ain't got no sympathy for the people that they rob. They ain't got no sympathy for nobody that they're doing this heinous activity to. And you also have to worry about public shootings, mass shootings. Literally, like 4 days ago, one happened at a mall down the street from me. All those retail workers are probably fucking traumatized. But no, boo fucking who. Your biggest fear is having the police come. And most of these guys that are at, fear of having this happen to them have big enough audiences that usually say it in the chat before it happens, or they work in like a factory of some sort where they're not going to be the immediate ones hit. They're going to like have everybody else. Like there are going to be people that see it coming before they have it happen to them. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I have no sympathy for the people that have been swatted, because absolutely that has to be traumatic. But like, let's be fucking real. You're sitting at home, bro. You are probably the safest. Your biggest chance of getting shot by, like, when being swatted is if you react in the wrong way, which granted some people could definitely do. I'm not an advocate for most police, but like, let's be real. Now, harassment does also come in many forms, you know, with like stalkers and everything, and especially for a lot of like the streamers and content creators that are like attractive young women, having like crazy stalkers, like with Emiru at the TwitchCon and everything, and really bad security. I get it, all right. I mean, I don't personally get it. Look at me, I'm a fucking heavy set dude with a mustache, a white dude with a mustache that's fucking 6'1", and you know, I don't really have many people that come up to me that are trying to, you know, swindle me, so to speak, that don't want to talk to me, or that want to talk to me that I don't really want to talk to. It just doesn't happen that often. But at the end of the day, if those are your biggest stressors, bro, take a vacation, switch up the content that you're creating. It's that easy. It is literally that easy. It's kind of crazy. And unfortunately, we live in a time where a lot of these people they think that just because they have to be entertaining for X amount of hours, that just automatically makes their career path super, super, super difficult. I get it. You know, like, being entertaining is difficult. Don't get me wrong. But it is not harder than being entertaining and being nice to people when your fucking grandma just died, but you couldn't get the day off because your grandma's too far of a distant relative and your bereavement doesn't cover it. And you can't call in because you'll get fired because it's the holiday season and they need you on staff. All right. And most often we see a lot of these out of touch streamers living these lavish lifestyles, like in mansions and traveling to their 9th fucking country, that they're going to use as a tax write-off because they did content in that country in fucking 3 months, and they're wearing bust-down Rolexes and fucking designer clothes, and they drive a Corvette for their everyday commute car. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you would not trade your life for a day to be in the shoes of some regular schmegular Joe working on a fucking construction site, working in the drive-thru at McDonald's. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you couldn't last a fucking day in that life anymore. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You're absolutely out of your fucking mind. And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying every single streamer is like this, but clearly a majority of the streamers nowadays simply think that streaming in 2025 is the hardest working job that you can get. I appreciate you guys for stopping by the channel today. If you think that I left anything or anybody out, please do drop some comments down below. Do you agree, man? Are you afraid to get into streaming and content creation? Is the workload just too much for you to take? Y'all let me know down below. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. We do try to post a video every single day, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Peace.